You got cooked up for us, Terry. I hear the music.
Oh, I have. We're gonna compare.
I think we are live, by the way.
Are
I'm
we
just
live?
shooting the shit with you.
I think we are.
Yeah.
It's nice that we're talking about the show like right before it starts. We're ready to go. Right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
But before we start the show, Happy Father's Day, Sean.
Thank you. Happy Father's Day to you,
and
my
Daddy.
friend.
They got anything planned for you today?
No, I said I will gladly do the grilling. Just let me watch a Tiger game, and I'll probably take a nap.
Dude, why do you have to grill on Father's Day? Somebody should grill for you.
I love it. I'd rather do it. You know that.
Okay, I know.
You're a master of your own domain.
I know, but we should do nothing.
For the first time in your life, those moments are so few and far between now, Terry. Those little moments at the grill, I am literally the master of my own domain. Mm-hmm. At no other time in my day can I say that. But when I'm standing at the grill, so it makes me feel like, okay, I'm finally in charge, because I'm not in charge. I openly admit it. Yeah. But in that moment, I'm in charge, so I like it.
Now, do you allow others to touch your grill?
You don't get anywhere near my grill.
I did not think so.
Young man, you put your hand down. Jack will come in. I'll see that hand slide in it. Young man, you put that. When you have your own grill, I won't put my hand in your grill. So, yes.
Never touch a man's
It's like
grill.
a pitcher's mitt.
Right.
It's your. No one else has any choice.
Well, and this is going to sound sexist, and it is, but I do not allow women on my grill. Because
Explain, Terry.
when they pick up the food, it's like they pick it up like it's going to break. And they're like this. You're supposed to just flip it over and do your thing. They go like, oh, boy, here's the little piece of bacon. And here's some chicken. And it's like too delicate.
No, I'm with you.
I would love to interview your wife one day.
Well, you can do that today.
She's coming to meet you down here.
She's coming to meet me. She's going to take me to brunch. So, and then we're going to the farmer's market.
Okay.
That's a fine day.
Yep.
Nothing wrong with that day. That's a fine day. Happy Father's Day to everybody else out there.
All right. Now, for my Father's Day present for you guys, we're going to have an alternative show to the Detroit Lions Weekly. Notice I didn't turn around? I finally learned the name of the show. I'm very impressed. Here's what we're going to do. And the reason we're doing this exercise, in part, is to compare the Lions today and the Lions to yesterday. We're going to highlight several current Lion players, or at least players that have been drafted or brought in by Brad Holmes, and we're going to let you guys pick current player or the field, which means the Lion players, top Lion players of all time versus top players of today.
I like it.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah, I like it.
So let's start off, and even though this guy's not with the team officially, let's compare the all-time great center with Frank Ragnow.
Wow.
Now, and you can disagree with me if you, I'm going to pick the all-time Lions great center. It's Kevin Glover.
Mm-hmm.
6'2", 278 pounds, three-time Pro Bowler, second team All-Pro in 95. He is on the all-time 75th anniversary Detroit Lions team. He played 191 games, 175 starts. Would you rather have Kevin Glover or Frank Ragnow? 6'5", 311. He made second team All-Pro 3 years and the Pro Bowl 4 years.
Okay.
So if you had to start a center, current center, we're going to still include him as a current center, or the all-time Lions list, Frank Ragnow or Kevin Glover.
You know what's funny? That's immediately where my brain went. And I thought the easy one would be compare whoever is center this year, and I would have picked Kevin Glover in a heartbeat.
Wow.
Over who the center is this year. Frank Ragnow, a healthy Frank Ragnow? Are we working under the assumption they're healthy? Frank Ragnow. Frank Ragnow. Now, as good as Kevin Glover was, and let me tell you something, Terry, I hope you agree with this. One of the misnomers of the Barry Sanders era is I've heard people say something that goes along the lines of this. Well, if Barry had any kind of line like Emmett had, right? Barry had a damn good line. That's kind of been one of those things that, was it as good as Dallas's? No, but he had a damn good line. Barry would be the first guy to tell you. I think some of those guys get disrespected, and Kevin Glover's one of them, T.
Damn good. I'm not willing to go there, but Kevin Glover was very good. Lomas Brown was very good. The problem is they had clowns in there, at guard and the other tackle spot. That was my problem. Yeah, they had two really great guys, but then they had the circus show.
But Glover was that good. That was at the
was
beginning
very-
of my Lions fandom when I was growing up. So I didn't notice the center position as much as I do now.
You got to remember, they lost two of their guys in the span of about 7 months, too. Mike Utley, the terrible, tragedy against the Rams, and then the Eric Andelsek thing. The guy's mowing his lawn and a truck hits him.
How often does that happen?
Come on.
When's the last time you were mowing your lawn and got hit by a truck?
It's just insane. It really is. So I mean that was the one thing. You lose two, guys that could have been. We'll never know. Could have been pieces forever and all that. But yeah, because of that, no doubt about that. Terry, I will agree with you. You kind of saw rotating door at some of those other positions.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. I got to go with Frank.
Okay, good for you.
Yeah.
And I remember they had a guy named Larry Tharp who should jump off sides all the time. But in his defense, he shouldn't have been a starter, but he was a starter because of the injuries that you mentioned.
Yeah.
I used to make fun of him.
Was it like that the right tackle for the Chiefs a couple years ago? Remember, he would jump off side, or he would it would be a false start every single play.
This was worse.
This was worse.
Yeah. I think he false started twice on a play. So we're all going Frank Ragnow.
Frank Ragnow.
Okay. Now here's the tough one because you had to do your little research. Benny Blades, the all-time great Lions safety, 14 interceptions. Now they listed him at 6 foot 221. I thought he was taller than that, but he was a big boy.
He played bigger.
He's a big strapping lad. He made one Pro Bowl. 800 and see, this is wrong too. He had 276 solo tackles, 88 assists, but they credit him with 860 tackles. That doesn't work.
The math doesn't add up there, Terry.
Right. He has 7 interceptions. No, he had 14 interceptions for his career in 136 games. Or would you have Benny Blades or Brian Branch?
Oh man, he flipped it on us.
Well,
no, I like it.
No, I'm not going to flip it on you. I tell you what I'm going to do. Brian Branch, 7 interceptions, 31 games, 129 tackles in his couple seasons. Or would you rather have? And I just went blank. I think Brian Branch is the better safety on the Detroit Lions.
So you want Brian Branch over Kirby Joseph?
Over Kirby Joseph.
Yeah, yeah.
Kirby Joseph's getting paid, but
it's funny to me, and it excites me that the Lions hand out the richest safety contract in NFL history to the second best safety on their team. A crazy concept, but the thought of that is it excites me for this upcoming year.
All right, tell you what. Before we go, Branch versus Benny Blades, who's better, Kirby Joseph or Brian Branch?
To me, it's Brian Branch, and that's no shade on Kirby. And they're two different types of safeties. One's, the ball hawking, interception machine.
Which is what you should do, yeah.
Yeah, which is what you should do, and is what the Lions have needed these last couple of years. So, again, no shade on Kirby Joseph. And he has improved his tackling, everything about playing the safety position. Kirby's gotten so much better over the last 2 years. But to me, the best all-around football player is Brian Branch.
Are you basing that on what we expect him to be, or are you doing the today, right now?
Maybe a little bit of
Okay.
both. Like I just think the sky's the limit for Brian
So do
Branch. I think he's still getting better, and I think he's one of the few difference makers at the safety positions who can affect you anywhere on the field. I would start my team with a guy like Brian Branch, or start my defense with a guy like him.
I would too. And comparing Branch or Kirby Joseph to Benny Blades,
Yeah.
I'm picking Brian Branch over Benny Blades.
Wow.
Benny Blades kind of did he get fat? Because they moved him to linebacker.
He did.
Later in his career.
He bulked up. I think you could say I loved Benny Blades.
Yeah.
He was one of my favorite lines, seriously. But yeah, I would take the current guys. I would. I don't think he's one of those Lions that I in my opinion, I think history kind of forgot how good he was.
Yeah.
I really do. I think he's one of those Lions that history kind of forgot, but I'm not. I can't do it. I can't do it.
Is it fair to say, like, how I think of Benny Blades, like when we were texting yesterday, it's like, I know he was a great player, but I kind of got to go back and, like, remember and look at some of his highlights and realize how good he was or how important. He's just not a guy that, you know, I picture out on that field or stands out to me like a Brian Branch now.
How about this? He was the funniest
Really?
safety in Lions history.
Even funnier than Super Bowl Curb?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he was hilarious.
Especially you get him after a loss. Oh, my gosh.
What was that like? Like in the locker room?
You just the one corner. You knew when they lost, you head to one corner of the locker room. That wasn't exactly a secret because some of the guys from the U were kind of hanging out in one corner. Man, they didn't hold back.
No,
they didn't hold back.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
Oh, I feel so dirty disrespecting Benny like that, but it's true. I like Brian Branch a lot, but I'll be honest with you. A good portion of that is what I think he's going to be yet. A good portion of that is what I think he's going to be yet.
I think we have to. He's only been in the league with two seasons.
Yeah, that's
so
exactly it.
We
More
might
athletic.
we might want to give our respect to Benny Blades and just hand him this for doing it over the course of his career. But I think Brian Branch is a superstar in the making.
Sky's the limit.
Yeah.
Sky's the limit.
Yeah. By the way, we're doing this comparing all-time players to the current Lions team. I know we just kind of jumped into this conversation, but I got to remind people I'm sitting next to two legends in Detroit sports media. These are two guys that know.
Butterball
Here we go.
No, you guys.
Father's Day.
Yeah, happy Father's Day to you. You deserve to be celebrated today for your for what you've done to this sports media market. So you guys know what they're talking about. They've followed these Lions teams. Maybe I won't date you guys and throw you under the bus like that, but you guys know what you're talking about.
All right, thank you.
I got
Bless
you.
my child.
I got you, Father.
Now we're going to get a little bit tougher now. Offensive tackles.
Okay.
Now, the all-time great Lions tackle would be Lomas Brown. Even though Lomas Brown disagrees with that, he keeps saying, "No, T, it's Lou Kreckmeyer." But
Wait, one more
Lomas
time?
Brown, "No, T, man, it's Lou Kreckmeyer. You got to give him his flowers."
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
I can hear him right now. Absolutely.
Lomas Brown, 6'4", 282 pounds, All-Pro in 95, second team All-Pro for 4 years, Pro Bowl 7 years, the all-time Lions team, whatever they call it for tackle. So he was over Luke Kreckmeyer. He played 263 games, and he was good. Now here's what Lomas Brown did that made it. He was tall. He's like 6 foot. They listed him as 6'4". I think Lomas is taller than that. I think he's 6'7".
He was tall. He is tall. It's 100%. Well, especially having the opportunity to work with him for a while. Every time I walked up to him, it was like that. So I think he was taller than that. I think he was taller than that.
He had very good feet, and when you tried to get the quarterback, he had long arms. He'd punch you right in the chest. Bam.
Long arms and long hands. Mm-hmm. Like, seriously, if you saw him. Like,
no,
honestly.
you shake his hand now.
Yeah.
He's got, like, Kelvin Johnson type hands.
Yeah.
It's like your entire – I'm a big dude, and my entire hand is taken up by his.
Yep.
Pause?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and compare him to Penei Sewell. I know Sewell is not playing left tackle, but he is a tackle, and he should be playing left tackle at some point. 6'5", 335, All-Pro from 23-24, Pro Bowl 23, 22, 23, and 24. Run a 5.09 40. And he mauls people.
Yeah, he does.
Love you, Lo, but Penei Sewell. And Penei Sewell, I don't think at any point in time during Lowe's illustrious career, one that should be in Canton, did somebody say he's the best at what he does. Penei Sewell is the best at what he does.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
No disrespect, Lo. Love you like a brother, but I'm Penei Sewell.
Yeah. the list of accomplishments you just started to read off for Penei Sewell. I want to remind people he's 24 years old. 24 years old. Lomas Brown deserves to be celebrated. Penei Sewell will go down with the gold jacket. Excuse me.
He is a freak.
Yeah, from the second he stepped foot on the field.
Yep.
And to take stats out of it, how he's been the transition from the same old line.
He's 24 and already in a Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
He's in the Polynesian Football Hall of Fame.
There you go. Got to be one of the best of all time.
Right. Definitely the most athletic tackle that we've seen.
Free.
He doesn't have the arms of Lomas, but he's a bulldog.
Yep.
One of the last people you want to see if you're on defense, see running towards you. You're trying to make a tackle.
He started the tush push. Because it wasn't the traditional, but if you were close to the end zone, he'd be running behind you, just push you right in the end zone.
It's incredible.
Right.
It's incredible that he's even there. You got Jahmyr Gibbs catching up to him in Houston. Like, the things he does on a football field, the things he allowed Ben Johnson in the offense. I'm sorry to say his name,
That's
Sean.
okay. I just choose not to say it.
Yeah, no, that's I don't like saying I'm dirty.
Why don't we call him, instead of saying his name, out of respect for you,
That's okay.
why don't we call him Benji?
Oh, Benji. that's so cute.
You know,
Right.
hair.
Yeah.
Are we okay with that? Can we call him Benji?
Yeah. Benji wearing his long-ass orange tie in the draft room. Yeah.
We got a couple cute ones in the division now. The little Viking fans
know.
pinch their little cheeks.
Matt
and
LaFleur.
Now we got Benji.
So we got Benji LeFleur.
Yup. I don't want to throw shade on Kevin O'Connell. I'm starting to
heck
respect.
of a coach. Heck of a coach, man.
Yeah. We'll lose in the playoffs, but
Yeah.
heck of a coach.
Yeah.
Benji.
No,
it's Penei Sewell.
It's Penei Sewell. Yeah. Sorry,
Okay,
Lo.
So Penei Sewell. So
Yeah.
it's 3-1 current Lions to the all-time Lion great.
And this isn't recency bias, right? Like, I'm glad I'm kind of agreeing with you guys and not just picking the new dudes. Like,
Well, we all have a tendency. I always joke. At some point in time, we become like our own old man.
yeah.
And my dad was always the guy. You know, whenever we had a conversation about guys, he would always go back to guys when he was growing up.
Yeah.
Always, you know, you never saw Gale Sayers. Otto Graham.
Yeah.
Things like that. He'd always that was always his fallback. And I said it then, and I think it holds true. Bigger, stronger, faster is real. It's just real. I don't care what anybody says, and that's why generational arguments are stupid. They are. They are.
It's true.
But I think in this moment, this goes to show you how much better this franchise is today.
Yeah.
I mean, it really does.
The fact that we can have these conversations and we're getting into some of the all-time legends.
All time. We're talking like
Right.
franchise history stuff. It's crazy.
Hall of Famers, borderline Hall of
Right.
Famers. But it shows what the condition of this franchise is.
Wild.
All right, now here's where it gets nasty.
Ooh.
We're going to compare Matthew Stafford
Oh boy.
to Penei Sewell. No, I'm just joking. Matthew Stafford to Jared Goff.
We could compare Matthew Stafford to Jameson Williams if we want to talk about like interception percentage per pass and stuff. Sorry, I had to get that in there.
All right. And I've run into a lot of people, including you, who believe that Jared Goff is better
Sure do.
than Matthew Stafford. Stafford has passed for 59,809 yards, 377 touchdowns, 188 interceptions. He's made 2 Pro Bowls.
Oh, that's cute.
It is cute. Jared Goff, 35,058 yards. He's made 4 Pro Bowls.
It's weird, right?
Yeah, how does that happen? 222 touchdowns, 94 picks. He's done something that Matthew Stafford could not do, and that's win 2 playoff games. And he'll probably win more.
Yo, he will.
But I'm still going Matthew Stafford.
Tell me why.
One, he's a better quarterback. Plus, when they made the trade, did they include draft picks that went to LA's way? Because
No.
no. So, and that trade was telling you who the better quarterback was.
No, Sean McVay and Les Snead were telling you who the better quarterback was in their mind. In Brad Holmes' mind, a man that I try to avoid ever disagreeing with nowadays, he was like, no. I want Jared Goff in this trade too. We'll take him.
But I want my draft picks too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. We'll take it because they're looking to – they were going for a Super Bowl that year. Jared Goff was still ascending, still had a lot of work to do. Sean McVay gave up on him.
They had to rebuild him. Let's be honest. They did. They had to rebuild him.
Yeah. That's what happens when you have 4 different coordinators in 4 years.
I have all the respect in the world for Brad Holmes. I don't think Brad Holmes or anybody thought that the Jared Goff that we would have now was the Jared Goff that they were getting.
Fair.
And that's why I'm going with Jared Goff.
I
am.
Let's go.
What I've seen the last couple years. Now, consider the source. I was one of those guys screaming, he's a bridge, he's done, he's shot, all that stuff. What he's done the last couple years, I can't argue with it. And I know it's a couple years. Career-wise, like T said, Matthew Stafford's a better quarterback. He's a better quarterback. Today, with what Jared Goff has done with this offense, I have to go Jared Goff. I have to.
Yeah.
I have to.
I agree with you. I got some more points, but I want to hear Tarik.
Here's the knock on Stafford. Well, he didn't win a playoff game in Detroit. All right. I counter by saying that Jared Goff have to play under Matt Millen. Did he have to play under Marty Mornhinweg? No. Jared Goff had to try to overcome the incompetency of the Detroit Lions. Jared Goff has two things in his advantage.
Yeah.
One, he's playing for people who believe in him, which is great, and he's playing in a franchise that's for real.
Yeah.
What happened with Matthew Stafford when he got out of this putrid organization? What championship trophy did he win?
He won the Super Bowl.
He won a Super Bowl.
With Goff's team, plus Von Miller, Jalen Ramsey, Odell Beckham Jr., and crew.
The Rams were confident that Jared Goff couldn't do that.
Right.
But my point is this. He got to a real organization and won a Super Bowl.
But he was part of making that a real organization. Jared Goff has been one of the most key figures in this Detroit Lions being considered a real organization. When he came, this team was still trash. His best receiver, one of the best receivers in the NFL right now, was a 4th-round draft pick. Let's not forget. He's got a 2nd-round tight end. He's got running backs that when the league is going away from running backs, they're drafting running backs, and they're sculpting an offense so Jared Goff can get the ball to these guys. He deserves more credit in this.
Well,
all these players around him are all pros
credit,
now.
But I think you're proving my point.
Tell me how.
That he had pieces to win here.
He helped develop the pieces to win here. Stafford had Kelvin Johnson. Stafford had the best defense in Lions history.
1 year.
Yeah. Jared Goff's only been here for 3 years.
And then he had a putrid defense the rest of the time.
You know what I'll say? So if you're Martin Mayhew's first draft choice was Matthew Stafford, okay?
Yeah.
We also had the 20th pick that year. Do you guys remember? We had the 20th pick. Do you remember who the Lions took? Pettigrew.
That's right.
Like, if that doesn't tell you, and I remember like having conversations with people, having like even people in the media, because people like to make excuses. Okay, let's be honest. All right, even people in the media, and I was like, you don't make that guy your 20th overall pick. You don't. Okay, everybody needs a blocking tight end. He excels at blocking, and it's like you don't take that guy 20th overall. You're kind of proving my point there. This franchise was a disaster. Like, we'll never get to understand or see what it would have been like to have Matthew Stafford play for a competent franchise. We're never going to have that opportunity. So that's why I have to sit back and say, well, all I can do is base it on what I know.
Right.
And Jared Goff has had competency around him, and that's why I say advantage Jared Goff because of that. Is that Matthew Stafford's fault? No, it's not his fault. But because of that, I have to say Jared Goff. I feel dirty saying it Because I think that Matthew Stafford was a guy that got a bum rap here. I do. I'll say that until my dying day.
Yeah.
I think he was a darn good quarterback.
Oh, it was incredible. Incredible. Talented. Very good quarterback, but wasn't good enough to lead a team to a playoff victory.
And guess what?
What?
Jared Goff wouldn't have been good enough either under that scenario.
But we'll never know. Jared Goff has done
I'm telling you
it.
now, he would not have won a playoff game here.
And that's opinion. That's opinion.
That's fact.
I don't know about that.
Listen, no, you know what? I'll go down Terry's road with that. If Jared Goff was a broken man with the Rams, can we all agree he was now? Nobody wanted to say it when he came here. Nobody wanted to say it. He was a broke. I think the Detroit Lions would have busted him. Now, do I know that for a fact? No, I don't know that for a fact.
But you're 99% sure.
I really do think the Lions would have busted him. I do.
I can appreciate that.
Just one man's opinion.
Yeah.
I do.
But
No, a lot of dudes were busted when they played here. They're like, damn, really?
yeah.
We're going to go through this?
Yeah.
You know who they broke?
Who?
Barry Sanders. They broke Calvin Johnson.
It did.
Why-
Calvin's like, peace out. I'm out of here. They broke two of the all-time greats no matter what.
Yeah.
You don't think they would have broken Jared Goff?
Of course.
All I know is they didn't
My
break
question.
Jared Goff when he came to Detroit.
Because they were good.
Not when he came to Detroit.
No. They had the right people in place. They weren't good yet, but you could see that the franchise had turned around.
At that time, we didn't know that. And we're talking first-time head coach and first-time GM.
And guess what? They sucked. He didn't Did he lead them to the playoffs?
Not year one.
He struggled too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did.
He did. But he also was the unifying force to bring this team together once they started to draft the right players, once they started to bring in the right coaches, once Dan Campbell improved his savviness to put everything around to make Jared Goff and this team successful. Jared Goff's one of two quarterbacks in NFL history to lead two last-place teams to a division title. Two different teams. The Rams, they had a 12-year drought in 2017, led them to a conference title. The Lions hadn't won a conference title in 29 years until Jared Goff got here. He's done it two different teams. He and Kurt Warner are the only quarterbacks to do that.
I cannot take away anything from what Jared Goff did from the day he came here. And again, part of this is I thought he was a guy that was shot. I thought he was a bridge. I openly admit it. I've confessed my sins, all of that stuff. What he was when he got here and what he is now, two entirely different things, man. I tip of the cap, no other way to say that.
I want to give him credit for that. Like, credit for bearing with this organization, this team, and trusting in Dan Campbell.
He didn't have to bear with him because they had the right pieces in place. We didn't see the fruits of what was about to happen yet, but I tell you, if Jared Goff had been in this regime with these knuckleheads, he'd be walking around like this.
We have a very the Goff line just rang. There's a special phone in the studio. If you say Jared Goff's name, somebody will appear.
Is this like Beetlejuice?
Stick, do you have something to say?
You know, I feel like Eminem and Kill Shot. Like, wake up Labor Day to this. I wake up Father's Day to Terry speaking with his head so far up his ass that I gotta start screaming him. I gotta go to the basement so I don't wake up my kids. Terry,
Bro, you need to take your ass back to bed.
Hold up to the mic.
Somebody goes to multiple franchises and takes them to places they rarely, if never, have gone. You got to look at the common denominator. The common denominator in L.A., number one overall pick, Jared Goff takes them to a Super Bowl. Number one overall pick in Detroit, Matthew Stafford, nothing for 12 years. Not even a playoff win. Then Jared Goff takes over the franchise.
Hey, bro, did you pay attention to the Lions team under Stafford?
I'm not finished, Terry. I listen to you. You got to listen to me. Then all of a sudden, Goff goes to the franchise that Stafford couldn't get it done at for 12 years, Terry. 12. Count them 12 years. You're willing to give this guy over a decade of excuses? He's supposed to be the leader. He's supposed to get players better. He's supposed to make a Nate Burleson the next level. He's supposed to take the pieces around him and be the leader. You never saw accountability on the field. You never saw accountability in press conferences. It was always, well, yeah, I guess we just got to play better. No fire, no dignity, no pride. He brought nothing to this city when it came to football. Off the field, he did great things for the city. Love you, Matthew Stafford, for all the shit you did. Never going to disrespect the man for that. But let's have an honest conversation about who's gone to two places, has been successful, when one guy needed to jump on the cape of what the other dude built, along with adding Von Miller, Odell Beckham Jr., and Jalen Ramsey. That's the only thing that put him over the top. Happy Father's Day, boys. Thank you.
Happy Father's Day, Stig.
Happy Father's Day,
I
pal.
hope your baby pees on you. But anyway, happy Father's Day. But see, guys, you don't get it.
I
The
don't.
Lions break people. The old Lions would break people. Barry Sanders and Calvin Johnson broken.
And Stafford.
You mean, huh?
And Stafford.
Yeah.
He has to go.
You mean to tell me that Jared Goff under the old regime would have been mentally strong enough to brush it off and say, hey, I got this. Let's go win some playoff games.
See, can I say this, though, and stick? This is where, well, I'm taking Jared Goff. I want that stated for the record. Stick and I have had this conversation, and Broder, you're not going to like this. If your goal was to win a Super Bowl, the Rams accomplished that. Like when you talk about that deal, they made that move with Super Bowl aspirations in mind. Yes. They got to the point, good, bad, or indifferent, where they felt like Jared Goff was not the guy to take them to the top.
Totally fair.
Matthew Stafford took them to the top. And I really do believe if this is a both things can be true scenario, I can sit back and say, well, that's great. Let's wait and see if Jared Goff does one, okay? And that's why I'm going to take Jared Goff. But that still is there.
Yeah.
And until Jared Goff wins one, to me, that's the trump card. Every time. Would I make that deal? Every single day. With the picks and Jared Goff, I'd make that deal every day. The trump card, whether we want to admit it or not, is a Super Bowl.
100%.
It is.
Yeah.
That's just.
No, you can't take that away from Stafford.
All right. Now, we were making comparisons to players. From
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Who would you rather take, Brad Holmes or Russ Thomas?
Oh,
Brad
gosh.
Holmes.
Okay.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
No. We're taking our pants off now, brother.
Oh, shit.
You know me. I don't need any excuse.
Y'all got me riled up, and I'm taking my pants off. I don't give a damn.
It's Father's Day. You can do what you want.
Brad Holmes or Quinn Tricia?
Brad Holmes.
Okay. Dan Campbell or Matt Patricia?
Dan Campbell, 10 out of 10 times.
Okay. Don't you see there's a pattern here?
How about Les Snead over Brad Holmes, the mentor?
What?
You're probably taking Brad Holmes' mentor over him. That's who Matthew Stafford got in L.A. And I bring up
a real organization.
Right. It took him a real organization for him to win a Super Bowl. And I'm trying not to throw shit. Stafford's super talented. He's a damn good quarterback. For the Lions. Jared Goff has been a better quarterback for the Lions. Matthew Stafford's like Oscar Pistorius. No feet.
I don't know how many times I can tell you this. The Lions were not a real organization for 60 fucking years.
Right. Including
nobody could win with this stupid team.
Including Matthew Stafford.
And Jared Goff wouldn't have been able to win with him either.
We'll never know. All I saw was 12 years of Matthew Stafford failing. I see his stats stats are inflated because he's always behind in every game, and he's got to throw the ball for 300 yards in the fourth quarter.
It was Matthew Stafford, Rodney Peete, Eric Kramer, Gary Danielson.
All of them.
You got like 15 quarterbacks who couldn't win anything here.
Yeah.
They kept Andre Ware around knowing full well he couldn't throw.
Yeah.
Like I cannot stress that to the younger generation. We got the Heisman Trophy winner, okay? The man could not throw a football. It was the Terry, please get my back here. It was I remember going to the he couldn't throw.
No. Dude, we used to go to practice. Andre Ware would go back. I'm going to throw a flare pass to Sean. Here's Andre Ware. Bam! He blasted your chest. He had no touch. He couldn't throw. But he started games here. And here's Wayne Fonts. Rodney Pete's still my starting quarterback, but I'm going to start Andre Ware.
Yeah. But I keep hearing Jared Goff has a noodle arm. Jared Goff can't throw a spiral. Like, Jared Goff can only be successful with what's around him.
One of the great misnomers about Jared Goff, and I know a few people that said this without mentioning names, is he and JMO can never get on the same page. Do you remember that?
Yeah, he can't throw it far enough.
That was a real thing that was thrown out there.
Yeah,
he and JMO could never get on the same page.
It's insane. First QB in NFL history with 6 different receivers with 5 catches in a single game. First QB in NFL history to have multiple games with at least 400 passing yards and a perfect passer rating.
He's got 5 receivers here. In years past, the Lions didn't have 2 people who could catch balls.
Because they're paying Matthew Stafford the richest contract. The richest contract in NFL history. Matthew Stafford made $260 million in Detroit.
Rodney Pete, Eric Kramer,
Calvin Johnson, Barry Sanders.
They didn't play at the same time. But see, this should tell you something right here. Calvin Johnson and Barry Sanders played a combined 19 years in Detroit. Not together, but they only won 1 playoff game.
Yeah.
In 19 years.
Yeah.
Now, in those different positions, who's a greater football player, Jared Goff or Calvin Johnson?
Calvin.
Jared Goff or Barry Sanders?
Barry.
Okay. All right. Those are the only players that they had.
That's not all Matthew Stafford had. And if you want, his cap hit when he was with the Lions, making $60 million as a rookie, getting the richest contract in NFL history at his first extension. Take less money if you want more players, or if you want to take the most money.
Dude, they could have been paying Matthew Stafford $75 a game, and they would not have been competent enough to get the right players around him.
Totally fair. Now people want to come and play. Amon-Ra St. Brown publicly says, "I want to catch balls from Jared Goff for the rest of my life." You know why? He's going to throw it exactly where I want it. He's going to protect me when I go over the middle. I will go to war for that man, for Jared Goff, the quarterback. I don't remember anybody saying that about Matthew Stafford. In fact, the greatest receiver of all time retired early because Matthew Stafford wasn't it.
Do you know why they didn't say this about him? Because Lion fans, who are a little bit stupid, let's get that out the way, believe this is a franchise that could win. They believe this was a competent franchise. They believe they were making good moves. And it was just they were either unlucky or getting bad breaks. And no, this team was poop. P-O-O-O-P. I'm not stopping at 2 O's. They were poop.
Make it 3 O's for the amount of playoff losses Matthew Stafford had.
It's for the Lions. Once again.
Goff has a plethora of all-time franchise records for this team that he's set in the last 2-3 years. He's the dude, including 3 playoff wins.
All right. Here's the deal. Let's get a generic team.
Yeah.
In their prime, who do you want quarterbacking it? Goff or Stafford?
This current team? Or
No. We're just going to pick a generic team. They both are the quarterbacks there.
Oh, then I definitely want Jared Goff.
See, Stafford, for a reason. Stronger arm, more accurate.
Not more accurate.
He has his pickoffs. He has his picks, but not like Goff. He doesn't have 5 or 6 in a game.
No, I don't remember Matthew Stafford having 383 consecutive passes without an interception, which would be 3rd all time in NFL history.
It was that was a beautiful streak.
Stunning.
And then he followed that up by throwing 6 passes and having 6 interceptions.
And I think they won that game
because of the defense. Because they built a team around him that could overcome stuff like that. Stafford couldn't overcome his little stupid 3rd quarter interceptions because the team wasn't good.
I think people forget, too, that there were different Staffords. I think Stafford in his late Lion career was a lot different than the first few years of Stafford.
Definitely.
You know, especially like I look at the Lombardi year. Lombardi nearly broke him. That offense was so bland, and they wasted that really good defense in 14. I thought Stafford towards the end of his career was outstanding. I did. I was one of those guys. I did an about face on him, and I'm going to give him his flowers for that.
He's a great quarterback. No, like, I don't want this to be like
He's going to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
I mean, he is.
He's got his Super Bowl, and he's super talented.
And I think that Jared Goff's on his way. I don't know if I'd say it yet because he doesn't have the mass that Stafford has. If the current trajectory continues, 2 years from now, I think we're having a different conversation. I really do.
I'm with you. I
Now
can agree
with
with
him, Jared Goff was the best even before he got here.
No, he was better than people give him credit for in LA, but he wasn't the answer to that team winning that Super Bowl. That team probably was better off with Matthew Stafford. I would argue that I think Jared Goff could win a Super Bowl with that team, but I get it. It wasn't the right fit with Sean McVay and that team. They needed someone like Stafford to get him over the hump. It was a perfect trade for both teams. But I think Jared Goff is perfect for this Lions team because of the intangibles that he brings on top of how he plays quarterback, because of his accuracy, because of the trust that his receivers have in him. That team doesn't quit because of Jared Goff.
Okay,
I'm
going to say something. I want you to allow me to complete my sentence before you jump down my throat, because I'm going to agree with you on something.
Okay.
Jared Goff could not have won a Super Bowl with that Rams team that Stafford did. Why? Because there was no belief from the coaching staff. They wouldn't have put him in position to win that Super Bowl.
Fair.
They would probably say, you threw a pick, man. Well, I don't know if we're going to bring you out here again.
I can totally appreciate it.
So
yeah.
You have to have belief.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, I have belief in this man. And he can say something goofy, but then I know he's going to follow it up with something brilliant. I have belief in you. I know you're going to say something youthful, but I know you're going to follow it up by saying something pragmatic. So I have faith in you. Now, if I thought you were going to follow up something youthful with something stupid and then something dumber, I would lose faith in you, and I would say, hey, can we get this sperm bag off the show?
Sperm bag.
Thank you.
He played like a guy, late-term Rams, that knew he wasn't a fit there anymore. Yeah. You know, it was the fumbles, it was the interceptions, it was turnover machine. He just looked like a guy that knew he didn't have the confidence of his coaching staff and in turn didn't have confidence in himself.
Right.
He was broken. And I really wonder if Jared Goff in a reflective, honest moment would say the same thing.
Yeah.
He was broken.
I think he has.
Has he?
Yeah, or at least insinuated close to
that. He was broken.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. He was broken, and they brought him back.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they did. They brought him back, and I it's a great story.
It is.
It's a great story.
All right, let me stop the show right here before we have to see if we can continue to go on with this. Are you broken yet?
No.
Are you broken?
I'm not.
Neither am I. So we can keep doing this show.
Yes, we can do that. I've not. No.
I have belief in you guys. I have faith they're going to.
Now, in this crazy business, have there been a couple times where you were real close to breaking?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely, 1,000%. But
just move on.
Yeah,
that's
1,000%. You haven't broke me yet.
Yeah. You just got to surround yourself with guys like Kool-Aid to like pick up your spirits whenever you're feeling down. That man will turn a rainy day.
Listen, my day gets better every time. He refuses to just shake my hand. He's got to bring me in on the bro hug.
Yeah.
If that doesn't make you feel like a better human being, nothing will.
Wild question.
He's over there working his ass
Oh,
off.
yeah,
He doesn't even know we're talking about
doesn't
him.
even know.
He got a.
He's virtually bro hugging people right now.
Yeah.
That's what's
he's not
happening.
only bro hugging you, but he's got to smell your cologne.
Yes.
What are
absolutely.
you wearing?
Yeah, he's probably sending a positive text to a friend saying, thinking about you, I believe in you.
No. He's sending a text to Stick. Don't fire Terry.
You guys know the camera is on us, but Kool-Aid's over there with his head down, just grinding.
He don't know what he talking about.
We got that.
No,
smile on
I
him.
said, you know what? You make every human better with the bro hug. Like you walk in and you're like, I don't know if I got it today, and then you come in with the bro hug, and I'm like, all right, there we go. Let's go. I'm ready to go.
Nah. Can we just do a hearty handshake? Hell no.
No.
Bring it
Get
in.
in
baby.
here.
Ass in. Bring your ass
Give
in.
me some of that.
There's good people who work here at Woodward Sports.
Yeah, no
Now,
doubt about that.
That one would be the difficult one.
Yeah.
I'm still sticking with Matthew
Fair.
Stafford.
Fair. We have a difference of opinions, but I appreciate it and respect you, Terry.
Okay, thank you. Now, the next one, edge rusher. We know who they have now. Man had a broken leg. Hutch. The comparison to Hutch, would you rather have Aiden Hutchinson or Robert Porsche? Robert Porsche is number one in sacks, 95.5. He was a very good edge rusher, but from what I saw, I'm picking Aiden Hutchinson.
So am
Over
I.
Robert Porsche, Mr. Foster?
Yes,
So am I.
sir.
Yeah.
Baligian.
Big Black was phenomenal. He was. Aiden Hutchinson is like transcendent. He is. I'm sorry. He is. He's transcendent.
Yeah. It's hard because since we've chosen Brian Brandt, we've chosen some of these new guys with the.
Willie he's not down with that. He's having a temper
I
tantrum
knew,
with that.
yeah, poor guy.
This is a hard one. Like Porsche was the first defensive freak I remember when I was a kid growing up learning the
different.
Lions. It was like it was him before Javon Curse, who was nicknamed the Freak.
Before
I just
Javon
remember
Watts.
seeing him changing the game from the edge position or from the defensive end position.
All right.
I think Hutch is going to be.
Young bloods. Here's a little secret here. Robert Porsche liked to jump off sides way too many times
Yeah.
He does.
for my liking.
Yeah, I see.
A lot.
I remember
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, he was like, woo.
See, when my formative years, Al Bubba Baker, Bill Gay, Doug English, they were the original Suva Rush. They were out. There was nothing like that though. The level of athleticism.
Yeah.
It was phenomenal when you're talking about Porsche because that's the thing. Porsche was an incredible athlete.
Yeah.
To be that big and that lean,
And fast.
and that fast, it was insane. It really was. I'm still taking Hutch.
I think
still
the
taking
difference is Porsche had a high motor. Hutch has an incredible motor that just doesn't shut off. And I mean, we're talking about Aiden Hutchinson, who was in the running, and I know it was a short window, in the running for Defensive Player of the Year. I never heard Porsche mentioned as a potential Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, that's fair.
But in his defense, he was not playing for a real organization.
Now, are we allowed to throw in the wait and see about his leg? Are we allowed to throw that in, or no? All things considered.
Sure.
Yeah,
We got to see the leg.
Yeah, we have to. I don't care what anybody says. We have to.
I'm just saying, for what I've seen and the way that I project him
I'm with you.
to be, that I would go Aiden Hutchinson.
I'm with you.
So we all Hutch.
Yes.
All right.
It's what it is.
Except Willie.
Except Willie. All right.
I think Willie's going to quit in protest.
I know.
Wait, all I see is Willie going
no.
elbows
Will-
and buttholes
Will-
out the door.
No, Willie's going to be out there in those No Kings protests, but the No King is not going to be Donald Trump. It's going to be us.
Willie.
All right.
Man.
Let's go to defensive tackle.
All right.
Make a comparison. Great player on the current Lions team. He's injured. Aleem McNeil. Aleem McNeil made a huge difference as far as being a run stopper. That defense was a lot better with him, even out there. Even when you had guys playing next to him who were working at Burger King on the weekend. The comparison is Ndamukong Suh. Ndamukong Suh, defensive tackle, is still 4th or 5th on the Lions' all-time list for quarterback sacks. He plugged the middle. He was vicious. He was mean.
As hell.
Not a likable guy. Aleem McNeil or Ndamukong Suh?
Sue. All
Hands
day.
down.
I'm going to make
All
it
day.
unanimous. It was
Yeah,
Suh.
all day. Ndamukong Suh is one of those guys that I don't think when he played here, Terry, he got enough love.
No,
I
at
really
all.
don't. I
At
don't.
all.
I don't. Because again,
And that was his doing.
Yeah,
because he wanted
wa-
out.
Yeah, and Terry, you know what? What he didn't translate numbers. I think people understand the game of football better today than they did even a decade ago. I mean that. I'm not trying to smooth anybody's ass, but when Jim Schwartz has to come out and openly tell people in the media, like, you guys, don't you understand what he's doing for everybody on that line right now? You aren't going to see it in the numbers, okay? But when you're getting 2 and 3 guys going at him and the third guy is chipping him, what's that going to do for, I don't know, say Uncle Cliffy Averill, right? Who should send a Christmas card with a bonus check every year to Dominic Sue.
I think he's still doing it.
Yeah, he should.
He should.
And that, no doubt in my mind, Dominic Sue. That one's a no-brainer to me.
Yeah.
Like, no
Unanimous.
debate type of stuff.
Yeah. I would love to hear Cliff Avrill's opinion on drafting Tyleik Williams to kind of silence the Lions fans. They're like, why are we drafting a run-stuffing defensive tackle in the first round? That's why.
Yeah.
Because you don't want teams running on you and controlling the clock.
You got
That's
it.
why.
You got it.
All right, guys. Who's the best cornerback in Brad Holmes' history?
Brad Holmes' history. Mm-hmm. He's rotated. Like, this is the one position. He's rotated
Right.
a lot of cornerbacks.
I don't think the current cornerbacks can match the Lions' all-time cornerback in my mind.
Which
And
is?
that's Lim Barney.
No.
Lim Barney. I know he played way, way, way back in the day, but he was an athletic freak. Great punt returner. He had a bunch of interceptions. To me, Lim Barney is the cornerback for the Detroit Lions, and he remains the cornerback for the Detroit Lions. Hall of Famer, all-time Detroit Lion list. So I'm going to stick with Lim Barney over anything Brad Holmes has produced here.
Most importantly, I think it begs to be brought up. There are only 2 human beings that could sell the hat that Terry's wearing. Terry Foster and Lem Barney. That's it. You put that hat on you, me, Willie, Kool-Aid, everybody's laughing at us. Lem Barney and Terry Foster can sell that hat.
Harry the Hatter should have had Lem Barney be the
How about Henry?
spokesperson.
Not Harry, Henry.
Henry the Hatter?
Yes.
Henry the Hatter. Yep.
I will say Terry and Arnold is another one of those guys I think that fans are way hard on him. Way hard on him. You are holding a rookie to veteran standards, and I don't think he had a bad rookie year at all. At all. Now,
Little handsy.
Yeah.
am I going to sit back and even say his name in the same sentence as Lem Barney? Dramatic pause for effect, just to hammer home the point. No, I'm not. I can't do that.
I think Terran Arnold could be in this conversation by the end of his career or in a couple of years, but it's Lem Barney. And I even argue Dre Bly, which isn't part of Brad Holmes' regime. Dre Bly may be in that mix ahead of the Terrions. I know Carlton was only here for a couple games. I don't know. Lem Barney.
I think Dre Bly did most of his damage elsewhere, and he came here and was really
good. Darius Slay probably in that mix.
Well, you know what? I was considering Slay.
Yeah.
His name is not Darius Slay, by the way.
What is it? Big play?
No, it's Slay.
Just Slay.
Just Slay.
Just Slay.
Just Slay.
All right.
That's still such
So
a
are you going to
shame.
put Darius? I'm sorry, just Slay over Lem Barney?
No.
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 That's still the whole Darius Slay. Oh, excuse me, Slay thing. Still, just it didn't have to happen.
Yeah.
None of it. None of that had to happen.
And he still wants to be here.
Gosh.
And he still wants to be here. Lem Barney it is.
Matt Patricia.
Yeah.
How many guys do we know that come into this town and literally embrace this town the way that cat did? I am serious. He just like going out on Friday nights. Like seriously, I remember being at a high school football game and there was almost like a buzz because Slay was just that's what he did on Friday nights.
Right.
Like I just
He was crazy. But
damn franchise.
the franchise has got to put Matt Patricia ahead of a guy that really wants to be here. Matt Patricia was looking to come here, make this a winning organization, and go somewhere else and be the man.
Yeah.
He wasn't ingrained in this community. In fact, Matt Patricia, when he came to town, you know what's the first thing he did? he was mean to the wait staff at every restaurant he went to because he thought he owned this town. You didn't do anything here. If you don't do it in Detroit, you didn't happen.
Right.
If Bill Belichick, with all his Super Bowls, came to Detroit, the other shit didn't happen. You got to do it here to be embraced.
So he didn't live too far from me. And what was interesting about that, you used to see him when he first got here. You used to see him all over Northville, all over Northville, and then it disappeared. It's amazing. As the losses started, I never saw him. I saw him everywhere. Like you go, there's a little custard time. Take the kids. Oh, there's Matt Patricia. And I say this all the time. I know people don't like to hear it because we've really nice guy if you got him away from the football field. Really, I mean, I'm not joking. Really nice guy. Like, talk to you like a human being, and things like that. But there, we saw it first. Were you there that first practice? The first practice where he had the meltdown with Mrs. Ford in the golf cart? To say that there were expletives being dropped would be an understatement. And we all, like, simultaneously, I think everybody's head went towards Mrs. Ford to see what her reaction was. And then we all kind of turned towards the chief, Mr. O'Hara. And like Mike is just shaking his head and he goes, before you say it, nope, I've never seen anything like this. Because like because that guy saw every gosh damn camp since the dawn of man. So like everybody instinctively looked to Mike O'Hara and Mike was like, nope, never seen anything like it. It was, and you kind of, hindsight is 20/20, but you're kind of like, I don't know if this is the best fit.
Not gonna work out.
Yeah, I don't know.
Practice one.
Yeah, day one, first practice. I'm not joking.
So compare that
Bad
to Dan
start.
Campbell doing 100 down-ups
Right.
on day one.
Little
different.
You bleep 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 bleep. I mean, it was
In front of the Mrs. Ford.
Mrs. Ford was. Let me try to put this. Probably 20 yards away, sitting in her golf cart. Yep.
Let me continue by saying that Willie B is on crack over there. He wanted me to make a comparison between Dan Campbell as the coach and Jim Caldwell. No.
Is that right?
I'm going to make the comparison Dan Campbell and the all-time winningest and losingest coach in Lions history, Wayne Fontes. I think you got to go back there because, Caldwell couldn't tell time.
He could not. That's real. He didn't know how to tell time.
And he wore 3 watches.
And then they hired a guy to help him tell time.
Right. And that's a 4th watch.
The guys loved him. Like I can't stress that enough. When I would pound on Jim Caldwell, Joik Bell in particular was, man, that's my guy. Yes, sir, Mr. Bell, don't beat me. Honestly, it was what people made of the Jim Caldwell era made me sick to my stomach. Like that.
Right. If you
made me
talked
sick to my
about
stomach.
Jim Caldwell in front of Joik Bell, he'd beat your ass.
Yeah, it wasn't good. I'm sorry. It was, and my biggest argument was, I can't wait until we have a real franchise so we can see how less than Jim Caldwell was.
Yeah.
And we have a real franchise now. A real franchise that, golly gee, just making the playoffs isn't good enough.
Right.
And we put Jim Caldwell on a pedestal for making the playoffs. I'm sorry. That's not how the NFL lives. Dan Campbell all day over Jim Caldwell and Wayne Fontes. Because here's a dirty little secret. The guys kind of laughed at Wayne, right? And had fun with Wayne. Mm-hmm. A lot of guys had no respect for him.
Yeah, I heard that.
A lot of
And
guys had no
one of
respect
the
for him.
reasons he remained as coach was because of Barry Sanders. Barry Sanders didn't want a real coach in here. He wanted a guy that was going to take it easy on him, gave them popsicle breaks, and
Can I tell you a real story?
Yeah,
Terry, you
please.
probably know this, okay? Do you know why guys loved Eric Kramer?
Why?
Because Wayne Fontes would tell Eric Kramer to do something, and Eric Kramer would basically say, bleep you. And guys loved Eric Kramer for it. Mm-hmm. And that was a big part of the 91 season that got that team turned around. Rodney Peete rolled out in the first Dallas game, blew out his Achilles. Eric Kramer came in and it was backyard football. No. Hey, Wayne, screw you. We're not doing that. And he'd call his own plays, and the guys loved it.
Yeah.
That is, I've had that story verified by 3 different guys.
Right. And here's the thing. Eric Kramer was the best quarterback in that era with Rodney Peete and Andre Ware. But until Pete was injured, Eric Kramer was relegated pretty much as the third quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, a bad franchise. That's what bad franchises do. And so then when it became apparent that Eric Kramer, to everybody, that he was the best quarterback here, and he's the only guy that could lead them to playoffs, he was so pissed off. He's like, I'm out of here. I'm peacing out. But the Lions were like, oh, no, we're going to get Eric Kramer back. No, you're not. It's like the Lions, like everybody knew Dominic and Sue wanted out. Everyone but the Lions.
Mm-hmm.
The media knew it. The fans knew it. People in the senior citizens home knew it.
And he was adamant, too. Martin Mayhew was adamant. No. He ain't going anywhere.
Right.
I know.
Yeah.
I told you guys a story. Terry, I'm sure you know this. There was no plan B. There was no plan. So he left. They kind of took about a 12-hour span of, I can't believe this happened. And then the next morning they had a meeting, and they're like, what do we do next? And so one of the guys are on staff going, what do we do next? There was no contingency plan?
Yeah.
That's legitimately how it worked.
Wow.
It's not – this franchise isn't real. It is now.
It is now.
But Terry, I couldn't agree. People don't understand to this day that this was not a franchise. This was not an NFL franchise. It just wasn't. It really wasn't.
Now, once upon a time, I used to be in the Sioux Squad. And the Sioux Squad was just people that he sort of kind of liked, but then we had a messed up interview when I was with 97-1. And so then he hated me after that.
Oh.
But that was all right. But I used to talk to his sister, and it was apparent he was gone.
Yeah.
Oh, she said, we're just looking to get out of here. Why did the Lions don't know that?
They weren't a competent franchise.
Correct.
And Sue wanted to make as much money as possible. He was one of the most business-centric football players coming into the league since day one.
Right.
You know.
And he wanted to be with a real franchise.
Yeah. Don't blame him. He couldn't stick around and help this organization become a real franchise.
He couldn't.
Well,
Yeah.
Super Bowl.
So let me see. Let's keep going down. They broke Calvin Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
They broke Matthew Stafford. They broke Barry Sanders. They broke Ndamukong Suh. Anybody gonna fight me on that one?
No.
No.
What? Where's Jared Goff's
no.
name on that? Oh, that's right. They couldn't break him.
There was no need to break. They couldn't break him because they were competent.
I don't know. That first year Jared Goff was here was pretty brutal.
You know what? This guy is really cute.
You can't.
I wish I could take a nail and pound it
compare the two.
in his skull.
No
you really
way.
can't compare the two.
No.
Like,
No,
really-
I take it back. I don't want to. Let me apologize. I, Terry Foster, do not want to hammer a nail in this man's head.
Thank you.
I want to take one of those railroad spikes and pound it in your fucking head. That's what I want
Terry?
Bring it.
This franchise wasn't real. You can't. There's no way you can explain it. I mean, I told you guys this. Like my dad, and my grandfather, stop. Don't get involved. I couldn't stop that. I was
Right.
always going to be a Lion fan, but I hope we realize how good we have it. And I'll tell you what, Terry, and I'm not kissing your behind when I say this.
But kiss it.
Well, it hits different when a guy like you says that. Because you've had a front row seat
Yeah.
for the shenanigans and the folly of this franchise for as long as almost anybody. And so when you say what a lot of us are seeing, that does hit harder. It does. That hits more. It's a real National Football League franchise.
Yeah. Wow.
And now we have real NFL franchise expectations too. Where I'm going to say again, I'm sorry, you could win the division third straight year. Hell, you could go 15-2 again. I don't give two shits. I don't care. January and February is what I care about now. Just like every other real franchise in the National Football League, right? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, fellas. Let's go to coaching. Dan Campbell, current coach, or the 1991 Coach of the Year, Wayne Fontes. Wow. Wayne Fontes is the winningest coach in Lions history. He is also the losingest coach in Lions history. He gave his players popsicle breaks.
Hopefully grape.
No, strawberry.
Oh, I'm a big grape
Strawberry. I have talked to a number of his former players, and at the time they wouldn't say it, but in these days they say, you know what, maybe Wayne Fontes wasn't the right guy for us. Wayne Fontes, who hired 2 secondary coaches. One was his brother Lenny. One was his other brother, I forget his name, John. And they all pronounce their last names different ways.
Differently.
There's Wayne Fontes, there was Fontes, and there was Fonches. They're all related. They lived in the same house. They all had the same mama, all the same daddy, but they had 3 different names.
It was a circus. It was.
Fontes? I like Fontes.
Fontes, Fonches, and Fonts.
I kind of find that out after the fact too, Terry. He was a joke to them. He was.
Yes.
He was. There has been no coach in my mind who played the game better than Wayne Fontes, though.
Right.
He knew whose butt to kiss. He knew to try to get on the good side of it. I was a kid, legitimate kid, in 1995, and I was walking out of the locker room the day before the Thanksgiving Day game. And Terry, you'll remember this. They used to have their Thanksgiving meal like after the Wednesday practice. They'd have a team meal. Who the heck am I? He has no idea. I'm some kid from Toledo. And I was walking out with Tom Kowalski, and I kid you not, he goes like this. He goes, "Why don't you guys come in and eat dinner with us? Come on in. Why don't you? What?"
This is exactly how he sounded, too.
Right, yeah, that's it. Come on, guys. I know you're hungry. Why don't you come in and have some dinner with us? Like, so we walk in. Well, at first I'm sitting there going, "Oh my gosh, I made it. This is the greatest." And then you're like, "Hey, wait a second," because you knew what he was doing. You knew what. Right. That's all Wayne did. Wayne was great.
Wayne
with
was
that stuff.
always under the heat, and my favorite quote from him was about Mr. Ford. Now, his name is Ford, but he always say, "Mr. Ford." And he would always say, "I want to dedicate this win to my owner. He's the tip of the top." Mr. Ford.
Tip of the top.
Tip of the top.
The big
Greatest
buck.
owner in NFL history.
He would talk about hunting, and he was the big buck. They ain't got the big buck yet.
Right. He was the big buck.
You couldn't imagine. It was a circus. It really was. It was a circus.
Oh, WCD through and through in the chat says, "R.I.P. Killer Kowalski, the GOAT." Sean Hart U says, "If Fontes got Joe Montana over Scott Mitchell, things would have been different."
You know what?
I don't
They
know if
would have picked Scott Mitchell over Joe Montana.
Yeah. I still don't know if I believe that. I got to be honest with you.
Do you think so?
Well, and I worked with a certain guy who was on that team. I bet you could figure out who I'm talking about. And he called BS. He didn't believe that story. He didn't.
Really?
He goes, "Don't you think we guys?" He goes, "If that was legitimate, we all would have gone to the front office and said, 'You do that today. You do that right now.'" Yeah, because people forget Joe was still the shit late in his career. Those last 2 years in Kansas City, yes, I know he didn't win anything, but he was still. You put him on that Detroit Lion team over Scott Mitchell or Dave Craig. Come on.
I'm going to give you a name. You know who would have retired with no Super Bowls if he played for the Lions? Tom Brady.
You think so?
He would have 0 Super Bowls. if he played for the Lions.
There's no way I could argue that. There's no. I'm not being funny.
I know.
There's no way I could argue that. No possible way. No, I couldn't argue it. I couldn't argue
They
it.
would have broke his ass too.
Heavily.
He'd be like, "Can you get me to New England?"
Heavily.
Drew bled so Tom could run.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out the roast of Tom Brady.
Or the Lions would have tried to make Tom Brady a running quarterback.
Well, that's what everybody wants. You have to be a running quarterback to be
That's
considered
right.
good.
Let's make it. Let's fit him in the run and shoot.
Yeah.
No.
The run and shoot, and they had the Great Lakes offense.
Yes. Who can forget? Good gosh. Good gosh.
So I think we're going with Dan Campbell.
Dan Campbell.
Dan Campbell,
Dan
yes.
And he's just getting better, too.
Right.
People forget Dan Campbell is going to continue to improve as well.
And Dan Campbell, he's doing something that the Lions never did.
When?
He's at the forefront of things. We make fun of him here. Oh, he gambles too damn much. Guess what the rest of the league is doing?
You got it.
They're gambling.
Mm-hmm.
They're going for it on fourth down at a much higher pace. So he must be doing something right if everybody else is saying, I think we're going to go for it on fourth down.
You got it.
They beat him at his own game in the playoffs. The Commanders are
Sure.
I think Quinn was the second most fourth down reliant coach in the NFL last year. People are realizing it.
Right.
You've been in the room more than I have the last couple years. How do those guys feel about Dan Campbell?
Top to bottom, love him. Couldn't say anything bad about that man.
That tells you everything you need to know.
In fact, incoming draft picks will die for him the second that
right.
selection is made.
Tells you there has never been a coach in my lifetime that evoked that passion.
Yeah.
Never.
In like any sport.
Never.
You're thinking about. There have been great coaches that you want to go play for, but there's something about Dan Campbell.
Well,
He revises.
I think there's validity. The guys hated Scotty Bowman. Hated him. Guys hate. Now, granted, the Scotty Bowman that came to Detroit was not the same Scotty Bowman that was in Montreal.
Right.
I think he realized Scotty was very smart. I think he realized he had to change, but he didn't change that much.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, but bro, the dick factor was still pretty
It was
high.
still
when he was
incredibly
there.
high. It was incredibly high. I mean, he screwed with your mind. And it wasn't just the players. He screwed with the media's mind, too.
Yep, absolutely.
He really did.
They had what was that rink downtown center city? They had a practice there, and so Scotty Bowman was just being an ass. And so I was talking to Mike Vernon and Chris Osgood, and I said, you know what? I'm sick of this shit. I'm out of here. This man is driving me crazy. And so Mike Vernon went, ooh, I feel so sorry for you. You get to leave here. We got to come back tomorrow. Then we got to come back the next day. We don't have to see you for another month, 2 months. You don't have to come back if you don't want to. We're stuck with this man.
The funniest line one of his top players, Ken Dryden, said is, for 364 days of the year, we were united in our hatred for Scotty Bowman. And on the 365th day, we went and got our Stanley Cup ring.
Right.
And the reason why I bring that up is because the player's coach is what guys are looking for today. I mean, it is a different generation.
Yes.
This man is the ultimate player's coach. He's the ultimate player's coach.
His self-awareness is off the charts, pulling from your Parcells, but also understanding how to connect with players of this era.
Right.
It takes a very unique individual to be able to be comfortable with yourself, to put those emotional awareness attributes in place from the start. From his first press conference, he's like, you know what? I got to just be myself. And everything else will fall into place.
People forget.
All right. Can I hammer that railroad stack into this man's
Oh
head?
no!
Let it
Another
fly.
one.
All right. I'm gonna be mean to you now.
Oh.
Here we go.
Dad?
Do you know who Bill Parcells is?
Yes.
Okay. Bill Parcells offered to come here to Detroit, run the front office, help the Detroit Lions. You know what the Lions said?
So he said no.
Well, we good. Matt Millen is taking over the franchise.
I want you to think about that.
What?
I want you to think about that.
Now, do you know why they didn't want Bill Parcells to come in here?
Why, Terry?
Because he was going to be mean to people and get rid of them.
want you to think
because
about
they're
that.
incompetent. And he said he was going to do that.
Yeah.
But they're like, no, we good. We got Matt coming in. Because everybody loves Matt.
This is after Bill Parcells took the Patriots to the Super Bowl and had issues with Mr. Kraft. You remember his famous quote? He said, if you're going to ask the guy to do all the shopping, the least you can do is let him do the cooking as well. Right?
Nice.
And that kind of fell apart. It's gross when I think about that. And I'm a huge Parcells guy.
Yeah.
And the thing that I like about Brad Holmes is Brad Holmes has a little of that Parcells in him in the fact that he don't like to put those young players in positions they shouldn't be in. Every now and again, out of necessity,
Yeah.
you have to, but rookies do dumb things. They do.
Yeah.
Every rookie does dumb things. So why put a rookie in a position to do dumb things? Now, Terry and Arnold is a little different, obviously, but
And where the Lions were at when Brad Holmes got here, you needed Malcolm Rodriguez to
Right,
play. You needed
right.
rookies.
Yep.
But if they had their choice, like on a team like today, we wouldn't see Tyleik Williams start week 1 if Aleem McNeil was healthy.
you play chess.
Yeah.
That's exactly
Yeah.
it. You play chess and you look ahead.
All right, let me get that second railroad spike
I have
into
a
your
hard
head.
head, just so you know.
I know it's hard. It's hard to get it through there.
Yeah.
There was a young assistant coach here in the Lions organization. He wanted to be the head coach, and the Lions said, "No, we good. We're going to hire." I don't know who they hired, but they
I
said
think your
no
point's
to
being
him.
made.
The young assistant coach was Don Shula,
Oh,
who went to Miami and won some Super Bowls.
Perfect season.
Right. There was a front office young man trying to work his way up here in Detroit, and he wanted to take over the franchise. The Lions said, nope, we good. We got somebody else better. We're going to hire Chuck Schmidt. Now, the guy that wanted the job was named Jerry Venesi. So Mr. Venesi said, okay, I'm going to go to the Chicago Bears. He got the front office job there, and guess what they won?
Super Bowl.
Super
85.
Bowls.
No, 86.
We just keep passing.
Do you get it now?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to help you.
Yeah. I wonder if they would have drafted someone other than that
Unlucky.
quarterback out of Georgia.
Oh,
If things would have turned out different.
boy.
No, I get what you're saying, Terry. And Burn on the Dan Campbell topic. Burn, a $5 super chat. Thank you,
Thank you,
man.
Burn.
It says Dan might be a player's coach, but man, does he know when to throw guys under the bus in order to motivate them and when to protect them. Don't get me wrong. Dan Campbell, in front of everyone, he's a nice guy. He's a tough guy. He's an asshole to the players, too, when he needs to
Yeah.
be. Like,
Yep.
he's not soft. He just has the right things to say to the media.
That one, and you know what? If you come at a man in a respectful way, the tone is uber important.
Yes.
It is.
If you respect the coach, he can come at you hard
Yep.
at some point.
You got it.
Yeah.
and
you got
Dan
it.
Campbell will motherfuck these guys.
Yes.
Up
Yep.
and down.
Yeah.
But you know what? Here's what instead of them feeling sorry for themselves, they like, damn, Dan is mad at us. We really must have done something stupid.
Yeah. Yeah.
For all the times that we've overused the word culture, I think at the same time we haven't used it enough.
You're so right.
And I'm not being funny when I say that. And Terry, if anything, all the spikes that you've driven into his head have proven that. Like
He's
how
still hard-headed.
different this franchise
Right.
is, how this is, again, a legitimate National Football League franchise. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, no. This one got me tapped in too. Just talking about how much he's changed the franchise, and we talk about this on Wake Up Woodward. They've actually taken this from being something that was just like a marketing word, marketing tactics. Hey, how's some ways that we can get people fired up, almost like the school spirit week type of stuff. They've now taken that and actually made it real. It's not like people are buying the stuff on the hats and the shirts with the grit and saying the key words because they've sold us on marketing. It's because we bought into who Dan Campbell is, just the same way that the team did. That, to me, is what it means. And I haven't seen any Lions coach do that ever.
No.
We've had coaches we've liked. We've had some. I like Jim Caldwell a lot. But it seemed like we always had coaches that were missing one part of it. Could they be a leader of men? Yes. But where is their X's and O's? Man, Jim Schwartz, I loved him, but there were some things to still be desired. But with Dan Campbell, it was everything. And now it's not just what they're selling you on T-shirts, but you even hear, we talked about this, Broder, you even hear draft prospects, right? They're sitting there edgy, talking to a panel of everybody, not just Lions people, but all the media that's there. But they're using what keywords? The ones that we hear Dan Campbell being one of the first to say. Now we hear people like that saying these things. Now we hear free agents who've come here and just gotten a taste. Carlton Davis was begging to stay here, openly begging to stay here, and so it's like it's different now. It's not just a marketing tactic, it's almost what the 2004 Pistons did. Going to work is no longer a marketing tactic. It's one of those things that is forever identifiable with the people of Detroit. I think it's because we see them working that way, especially when you talk about the grid of Detroit, man. But
right, and I think I tell you guys this story every other week, but when a player for the Lions was either released, traded, or left as a free agent, the players would take him out to dinner and congratulate him for finally making it to the NFL.
You're out of
Think
Detroit.
about that.
Right.
Congrats.
Think about that.
You made it. You're out of here.
it's crazy.
That's what
Yeah.
they said.
You spent your time here. You didn't get hurt. And now you found another team.
We're so happy for you that we're going to give you an extra piece of shrimp on your plate.
I wonder, too, because, the whole Dan Campbell thing, there have been guys, like Kool-Aid brought up Jim Schwartz. The guys really liked Jim Schwartz for a couple years. I don't know exactly what happened. I heard a couple different stories, but a lot of it comes along the line of Jim Schwartz became the smartest man in the room. All of a sudden, he became the smartest man in the room, and he kind of lost the guys. Mm-hmm. I personally think his shenanigans on Thanksgiving Day, remember throwing the flag, knowing full well it was going to cost the Lions a touchdown, but he threw it anyway because he had to make a point. Like, you're a moron.
Yeah.
Like, at that point in time, you're a moron. Oh, congratulations, you made your point and you gave them a free touchdown. Hey, you lost the game. That's awesome.
Taught them a lesson.
You don't yet, right? Oh,
Right.
The Dan Campbell stuff, nobody's grown tired of it. There's shelf life. I haven't heard of any expiration date. Have you?
No.
It's amazing.
No, Shane D in the chat says, I'd say the desire to win is Campbell's difference. He wants it for our city. You can feel that out of him.
100%. Good point.
There's some power to him being on that 0-16 team.
Good point.
The thing about Schwartz also is when he melted down, the team melted down.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he melted down quite often.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Jim Harbaugh, Jim Schwartz.
Oh yeah,
That was
they
silly.
should have just let him go at it.
Yeah.
Harbaugh and Schwartz.
That
By
was-
then they're at the 20-yard line. They should have brought him back to the 50-yard line. Just let him go.
Yeah.
Don't shake my hand so hard. What the like?
That was the end.
That's
That might
so
have been the
feminine.
end.
Well,
Come
he did slap him on the back though.
Yeah. Jeez, oh Pete.
Terry, we're winding down here. You got any more any player comparisons on your list?
I think. Let me see. I probably do. Let me see.
Don't even bring up the running back.
I
Just don't.
didn't know if he was going to use that.
I was going to use it.
Okay.
I
The
hope
running
this is a
back,
quick
Jahmyr
answer.
Gibbs versus Barry Sanders.
In unison, can we say I'll say Barry Sanders?
Barry
Yes.
Sanders.
Like,
I'll throw Billy Sims too.
But
I will.
What? Yeah, and some old timers say that Billy Sims was better than Barry Sanders. Billy Sims.
I'm not going there.
Only played 4 years, and they said if he played longer,
was so
he would have done better.
It was so good.
But here's the thing about Barry Sanders. Barry Sanders, in his whole 10-year career, never got blasted. Nobody lined him up and just pounded him to the turf.
Mm-hmm.
You might trip him. You might push him out of bounds. You might nick him a little bit. But Barry had so much creativity.
yeah.
He was the most creative running back I ever saw. Now, Jahmyr Gibbs has some Barry Sanders in him.
Most
He
definitely.
can shift back and forth. He's faster than Barry Sanders. But Barry Sanders had that, I got you. Damn, how come I'm just holding air now?
Yeah.
I hope you younger guys have taken the opportunity to go look at some of the YouTube stuff.
Oh my God.
like
Amazing.
I do it occasionally too, and just like to remind, and I always end up laughing. Like when you watch Barry Sanders, to me, like it's a victory if you don't end up laughing. Just some of the stuff that bodies aren't supposed to move that way, man.
No.
They just aren't supposed to move that way, right?
And then let's go back to how incompetent this franchise was. When the Lions got inside of the 10-yard line, what did they do with Barry Sanders?
Go stand over on the side.
He's a stand by coach.
Yeah.
They took him out the game. And then they put in Ron Rivers or some other dude you never even heard of. Because they said, well, Barry's trying to hit the home run all the time, so we're taking him out.
You know what? I watching Barry Sanders highlights, I'm surprised he didn't get hurt more than he did, because every other highlight, someone's horse collar tackling him because he's run past them and he slows down at the end. He's got the little legs. But they're horse collaring him. I don't know how he didn't break his leg.
I'm going to tell you right now, in the early days of fantasy football, okay, do you want to know how I knew you didn't know what you were doing? You would be the slapdick that would walk in on fantasy draft day and take Barry Sanders number 2 overall.
Yeah.
And the rest of us would go, fresh fish, fresh fish. But Barry wasn't a fantasy player because of what he said. Because back then you weren't getting, 1 point per 10 yards rushing and everything. It was pretty much touchdowns, and were you able to do something out of the backfield as a receiver? And so when you're talking about Ricky Waters was a better, Emmitt Smith was like the gold standard and everything. Barry Sanders was a guy you took later, and you hope that maybe this was the year he got 8 touchdowns.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It's insane when you think about it, really.
But he ended up with 99 career touchdowns.
Yeah.
In 9 years. Not 10 years.
10 years.
10 years.
Yep.
And then after 10 years, he's like, I'm broken.
Yeah.
But a lot of the reasons he left is because the Lions screwed Chris Spielman, Kevin Glover, a lot of people. They screwed him contract-wise, but they paid Scott Mitchell.
Yeah.
So Barry's like, I'm out of here.
I'm out.
Do you know he had 3 touchdowns? Barry Sanders, 3 touchdowns in 11 games in 1993. You have the most explosive player by far in the league. And he had 3 touchdowns in 11 games. Such chronic mismanagement, 9 touchdowns in 16 games. The 94 season, 7 touchdowns in 16 games. What are you doing? It's Barry Sanders. 19 touchdowns in 3 years. It's criminal. It's criminal.
Jamal Williams had that in 1.
Right.
Right.
So I guess that solidifies our Dan Campbell selection over Wayne Fonts.
Right.
I think so.
Now, is Wayne Fonts, I'm sorry, is Dan Campbell having popsicle breaks, though?
You didn't think about that,
See,
did you?
you got to give Wayne Fonts
didn't-
the edge
you
there.
didn't-
Popsicle breaks. Makes the guys happy.
Well, Dan Campbell's melting down the rest of this list.
If
We got a couple super chats over here too that are supporting one Mr. Dan Campbell. Burns sent in a couple $5 super chats. The first one, he says, Dan might be a player coach. Let me see here. Yeah. He says Dan might be a player coach, but man, does he know when to throw guys under the bus in order to motivate them and when to protect them. And he sent in another one as well as it relates to Jim Schwartz. He says he will never be able to forgive Jim Schwartz for 2013, starting 5-3, losing the division to an 8-7-1 Packers team that they beat on Thanksgiving, their last win that season. Thank you for reminding us of that, Burn. Thank you for that.
okay.
Heartbreaking.
They knew it was coming. The Philly game, remember the snow game, that infamous, he nearly got fired that day. That day.
Shout out, Burn. Thanks.
But he was talking about Mr. Fold, the tip of the top. The tip of the top. So he kept his job.
Tip of the top.
And then he sued the Lions for workman comp. They kissed his ass every moment of the way. He kissed their ass, but he still sued him for workman's comp.
Unbelievable.
It's crazy. Times have changed. Now we got a Super Bowl champion in our
And-
We
midst.
have a real franchise.
And you know what? Real franchise. And we have a real football show here, too. If the Lions, if this is the old Lions, we wouldn't be here today.
No.
Not
No.
at all. Not at
Not
all.
with 200 people in the chat right now, more watching on record. This wouldn't be here.
No.
Appreciate you guys. Seriously, happy Father's Day
you.
to all the fathers out there.
Yes. You know what else wouldn't be here if the team wasn't doing well? We got a Tiger show coming up at 10 a.m.
Yeah.
10 a.m. Nick Koloff and I with the Woodward Tigers.
Love it.
We're doing a weekly update of our own. So that's on at 10 a.m. It's our third episode. So everyone tune in 30 minutes.
I'll race home and check it.
Let's go.
Yep.
Let's go. We got some good topics to talk about this week. But
Don't get any better Tigers coverage right now, and I'm telling you guys what Nick is doing. And building on the foundation that Broder set as the first Tigers beat reporter here at Woodward Sports, man. It's awesome to see you guys be able to get together and kick off this new Woodward coverage. It's a new era.
Fun. You gonna have fun?
no, we're gonna have fun. Like I don't know if you've seen Nick's stuff. It's just there's a lot of energy on this table
Love his-
during the 20 to 40 minutes we're on. There's just energy bouncing back
He
and forth.
puts out good content
Yeah.
on social media, too.
Yeah.
I mean, props to Microwave. He really does.
Yes, the
All right,
tailgate
I had a
wins
great
chat.
time. I am going to have a Father's Day brunch with honey bun.
Enjoy.
Alrighty, enjoy.
So yes.
Enjoy. Happy Father's Day to you, to Sean, to Kool-Aid, and to all the fathers out there. Us sons, we appreciate you guys. Daughters appreciate
Happy
you too.
Sunday
Have
to
fun.
you, sir.
Thank you. SONDAY.
And happy pre-Father's Day, because I know you're gonna be a daddy one day.
One day, man. One day. Hopefully soon.
All right. See you guys next week.
All right.
Peace.
Peace out.